Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the monthly Town of Milton Board meeting. Today is April 26, 2023. The time is 6:30. I'd like to get the meeting started with a Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Isaac.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Isaacson.
Present.
Councilman Froelich.
Present.
Councilwoman Kerr. Present. Councilman Blaisdell.
Present.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Present. A motion to accept the regular board meeting minutes from March 22nd, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. First on the agenda this evening is a public hearing, number 1, on the Cesar Brothers PDD on Stone Church Road. The time is 6:31. Miranda, could you read the notice, please?
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Milton will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 26, 2023, at 6:30 p.m. on the proposed Cesar Brothers PDD. Full copies of documents are available at the town website.
Thank you, Miranda. EDP, would you like to start it up? Thank you.
Give me a second to get set up here. All right, yeah, so for tonight, we're just here to give a brief description of the project. It seems to be echoing a little.
Maybe you point the mic down toward you,
How's that?
toward your face more.
Okay, good? Yeah. All right. So we're just gonna look at the screen over on the one side over here. What it is we're just gonna present the project just briefly. I know the town board has seen the plans over the last year and a half. And I see a lot of the residents here this evening, so we'll wanna give them plenty of opportunity to comment on the project. So just briefly, I'll go over maybe some things like the site location, some of the current design scenarios that we've been looking at over the last year or so, just to give them a brief history of how we've progressed over time on this. So it's been going on for about a year and a half. Here's the site location map. So everybody can obviously easily spot on this particular drawing the airport and our relationship to the airport, and obviously Stone Church Road. We're at 272 Stone Church. We're just to the north of us is Rollins Hollow, and just to the south would be Pheasants Run. You can see Pheasants Run on the bottom left-hand side of the parcel. So the parcel's kind of split in half by the road, and it includes a total of 83 acres. The small rectangle on the right side next to the airport, I believe, is approximately, I want to say, 26 acres roughly. We call that the eastern portion of the site. And then the western portion being the other side, a little larger, 57 acres. Whoop. I know you guys are working on the volume, but that's fine. But anyway, so those are the existing parcels. The one on the western portion, the larger rectangle, does include some wetlands, and my next slide will get into some of the approvals for that. So we've been contacting both DEC and Army Corps of Engineers, who generally regulate the wetlands for various areas in Saratoga County. And within the last year, we've been able to secure what's called a jurisdictional determination. Basically, that's them saying that our analysis and that our location of the wetlands is accurate. So this is just a couple of those letters. The first letters on the left is from DEC verifying the wetland locations. As part of the permitting that's typically required for wetland projects that involve wetlands, you're also asked to look into the historic, I see the historians here this evening, so I don't know if he has anything to add to it, but basically we write a letter to SHPO, which is State Historic Preservation Association. So we write a letter to them. They say whether or not we're in a sensitive area. In this particular case, we are not in an area where they feel that there would be any historic significance from the project, both archaeologically or for any type of historic impacts from the project. And then last but not least would be the endangered species. A lot of places in the town of, I think here, town of Milton, you've experienced areas where there could be Carner blue butterfly habitat, for instance. So in this particular site, there is nothing there as well. So we received another letter from DEC stating that there would be no impacts from this project on endangered species. So I guess now getting into the meat of the development itself, we started out back in 21. You can see at the first drawing up in March. We submitted a plan to the planning board to start the process. You'll see on all these drawings how they're very similar. Essentially, we're looking at 3 different development areas. And again, going back to these 2 separate parcels, on the western parcel on the north side, we're always showing a cul-de-sac. It's about 900 feet, linear feet, and then we show different variations of that. And then on the southern portion of the plan here, you can see that the larger lots for some of the single family are on the south portion of that larger rectangle. And then on the eastern side is where a lot of the density is. Again, there's no wetlands over there. The only impacts that we are, obviously working with would be anything that would be associated with the runway protection zone, with the county airport being so close by. So I think we just recently got a letter from the airport saying, that we're very close to that, and we just have to kind of fine tune the boundaries. But in the upper right-hand corner where we're showing a retention basin on this plan, you'll see that we aren't developing within the area that's close to the airport. So that's the first plan that we submitted. Then we presented a plan that was very similar to the one up on top, where we were showing different units. And you can see on that one on the right where we're showing single family. They're smaller, what we call patio homes. So we're showing smaller lots instead of the attached residential units. And then moving on to the next one. Again, this just shows that the one that I just showed you, the way we presented it to the planning board, just so you can kind of see how it's evolved and changed. The plan is the current master plan is the one on the bottom, and I'll just give you a quick breakdown of those development areas. And again, we're looking at really just 3 areas, 100 lots on all these layouts. We always looked at 100 lots as being the maximum amount of the density that would be on the project. We're starting off with that cul-de-sac. So on that northwest portion cul-de-sac, we're looking at 30 single-family homes, and those would just be on a single cul-de-sac. The area to the lower section of the project would just be the single-family homes along with 2 estate lots. You can kind of see the two estate lots scattered towards the back near the wetland areas. And then again, we're just showing on the rest of it on the eastern portion, that would be 62 single-family homes on that parcel. And again, the only difference between what we presented on the planning board and what we're currently showing is we originally were thinking of doing a trail out through the wetlands, so we're not showing that. You can kind of see how that is shown on the plan there. And then also we were considering at one point maybe having a dog park, and we've eliminated the dog park as part of the current plan. So that's the overall layout. And again, this is sometimes we call this a cluster development, where we're trying to get all the density into the areas that are less environmentally sensitive, and preserving the rest of the project, which this does very well. We're preserving out of the 80 acres, you can see, we're preserving over 50 acres of open space for this project. And the development is being more concentrated on the area closer to the airport. So that's the overall design. Same kind, this is a blow up of the same thing. If there's questions, I'll leave this up because this is the way you can kind of see it the best. Just quickly, as far as utilities go, we're going to be making 2 connections, both for water and sewer, which are available. The connection for the sewer would be along Ackland Boulevard, which is just to the north of us. We would be connecting to Heritage Springs Sewer Works. As far as the water, runs up and down the road, the existing road. So I believe it's on the east side of Stone Church Road currently. So we would make a connection for both development parcels to that water system, and that would be Rollins Hollow Waterworks. Okay, and again, this is just some more information that I know will be discussed with some of the, if the neighbors are always concerned with traffic. The applicant has prepared a traffic report. It's been submitted to both the planning board, I believe, and the town board. The traffic report was prepared by Creighton Manning. It's a little over a year now that since we've done the study. We don't anticipate any changes have occurred, regionally within the project area that would warrant having to redo it. But if need be, if questions come up and there's some additional traffic study information that the board would like, or the residents are concerned with, we could certainly modify the traffic report. As far as the numbers go, you're looking at, for the 100 units on this project, there would be 76 trips going in and out of Stone Church Road, additional from this project in the morning hours. And then during the PM peak hour, which is usually between 4 and 6 o'clock, you're looking at 100 new trips, 100 new trips going in and out of the project site. Also within the traffic study, they also looked at several intersections. The most important ones, obviously, that come to mind would be the one further to the north, which is Route 29, and the other one further to the south, which is Geyser Road. And they've looked at site distance for both those intersections and the new intersections, and found that there's adequate site distance at all the intersections. Again, I talked about the generation of the traffic would be what I just had mentioned. As they're looking at the 4 intersections, they determined that the only one really that would need some improvement might be the one, because of the level of service and some of the safety concerns at that intersection. They would want to try to propose a 4-way stop sign at Geyser and Stone Church Road. So that's something, that again, we can talk about later, I guess. I think, wrapping things up. Again, these are just an idea of some of the units that we're looking at right now for the typical homes. They're modest homes. They're not large by any means. They're almost like a starter home at this point. And I think that's the overall site again, so we're pretty much done.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Anyone else from the audience like to speak in reference to the proposed PDD? Yes, sir.
I would. Can I speak from here? Oh, sure. Ed Esposito, 1 and 2 Pheasant Run. I earlier sent the supervisor our concerns prior to even seeing this. I didn't know it was this advanced in planning and so forth. I like the look of everything on the Ackland side. As you know, if you haven't been told, we have concerns of what I call the tale of 3 projects, this being the 3rd one. My only response to this is, I think immediately when I first opened, I think it should have been restricted to 2-acre density on our side. The hydrology on the other side of the road is fine. I don't know if you guys did deep tests, and I don't know if you did your density calculation based on usable land area. If you can answer that question, usually you opt out the wetland, because when any permit that I've gotten with DEC says lands of the people of the state of New York. And this is a real issue. Not so much this project. Love EDP, I've worked with them before. But I think the board, without going into moratorium, saying, oh, here's another project, let's jump at the density. Let's get all the return on investments for the Cesar brothers. I think a horse is out of the barn here. If I may address our concerns, some of them which I mailed earlier, called a Tale 3 projects. The first one being in 1990, without any of your history and knowing what's going on here. Excuse me, I'm a little dry, but 1990, we all bought into a 2-acre lot, 4-foot clearance of our groundwater. You know, birds are singing once upon a time. It was wonderful for almost 25 years until the board in the town approved Fair Oaks, the second project. Now, a lot of people from Pheasant Run came. Some of them palpitated with heart problems over the system that went on there. And if I can tell you a little background, we've got testimony and video, not here tonight, but I have maps. We were told that only 10 CFS of runoff was coming off the Fair Oaks land, on and through Pheasant Run. Not true. Well past the analysis, well before we get, I never got a $4.75 expensive mailing asking me for my opinion. But there were the Hitchcocks and Don White and so forth, some other people here. They got a notice, and they were showing the town there's an active wellspring that floods like more than 15 acres of land over there. No, we stayed over there. I know I couldn't ride a snowmobile in the dead of winter because it was so wet. Bill Lewis isn't here, but he tells me, oh yeah, when I was fire chief, I couldn't drive and access a fire call in there because it was prone to wetness. Now, hydrant plants were removed. That site was cleared before ever coming for final approval. That is such a violation. I cannot begin to show how furious we at Pheasant Run are, because right now, that wet spring is funneled continuously through Pheasant Run. Now, if you can appreciate the time and effort these good folks put into doing a 25-year, or 50, 100-year storm analysis, extreme flood, overbank flood, that has to do with rainfall. But nothing on the Fair Oaks project showed a hydrocad with a continuous flow of all this runoff coming through every day of our life. It totally changed our property values and the runoff condition. That water lies in there, and MJ Engineering was the engineer. Hey, people in the profession, I'm probably a little older than you guys, but Vern Hoffman, Gary Robinson, Dan Louts, these guys are legends. They said Pheasant Run was good to go. I got the plans. The under drainage network was never built. This project was never inspected. Now, calm down a little. I can tell you this. Bill Lewis also said they never asked the builder to put a flow meter on that to show it was constant flow, and that it would hurt the Pheasant Run. What's happening in the drainage channels is There was 4 6-inch pipes, 2 of which are working. One is blocked, one is broken. There was the only under drain, the central corridor leading on the other film showing Fair Oaks just directing all their runoff, not 10 CFS. That spring discharges 10 times that. Okay? So now we have a situation where people in Pheasant Run after 25 years are going, geez, like there's a lot of ponding in the center. Now here's a project, we don't even really need the center corridor. We have 2-acre lots, we got 2 rain gardens, we got little swales that weren't built according to the project, not continuously draining swales. Someone's got pocket ponds, road oils are filtered, 2 acres. We're managing our own runoff. But that drainage corridor leading into your project, all that wetland, and that's why I'm here, and I have a few extra comments later, but I'm seeing a trend of Pheasant Run's drainage corridor exists solely for Fair Oaks. And the discharge, the goodwill of all this wanting the density, they couldn't have given up 4 or 5 extra lots to do a little water feature of their spring, or cap it and give everyone free irrigation, something. I didn't even know you people went to planning board. I'm a planner also. But there's a real problem that I cited in the last couple of pages, and basically our mantra is you broke it, you fix it. The town approved it. Jason Miller's in there, God help him. He's trying to fix the problem. He extracted. I have an analogy. Jason removed all these clogged, the vestigial remnant of the 25 years when it was working. When it wasn't working anymore, right? We call it the dead snake. All this now, our head wall has our under drain, the only under drain installed. 70% of the road under drains were never installed, like I said. Okay? You can check it out, it's on the MJ engineering maps. And I informed the town when we found out. Bob Hanna went to the county, got the maps, right? And they're all, it's plain as day. We're just finding out what did we buy into here? And the fact is, when all that under drainage in the center core was so silted in, the detail on your engineer's map didn't have stone, didn't have fabric. Am I wrong? Jason pulled it up. We're all going, we don't even know what we got. But he's trying desperately to maintain it. We love this town. We love our highway department. But we have a problem. These 3 properties are interconnected. Okay? And now, like any good doctor would say, oh, you got clogged arteries here. And you're missing all this other under drainage, the arteries that feed. 80% of the lots don't even get a benefit of this drainage channel. Like I say, it exists for Fair Oaks. That's Fair Oaks discharge. Now, right? And when you do your HydroCAD storm analysis based on rainfall, this is not even during the rain. There's runoff all the time. We call it the faucet from hell. In our first letter to the town, addressed our bathtub analogy. Think of your detention basin. It's got a faucet and an under drain. I said detention, it's a submerged orifice, but the submerged orifice doesn't work, it's clogged. So the inflow exceeds the outflow. So the bathtub just keeps filling up. That's us, Pheasant Run. We're full up with this Fair Oaks drainage. And you know, some of them brought pictures. Some of them sent me videos. So Jason knows. He's over Bob's house trying to. We have a 50-year and 100-year weir on our head wall. They fill up constantly. We shouldn't be having a 100-year storm is a 1% chance, a rainfall event. We get that high in a given year. And we have them all the time. Why? Because our bathtub never gets a chance to drain. It changed our hydrology by year. The bathtub's always full, it's spreading out laterally. Poor Mary Burton, it's flooded her backyard. She burnt out her sump pump. Yesterday, wasn't Mary?
Sunday.
It's disgusting. And this is what we live with because of a prior board's decision to go after the density. Let's pack them in. You can't give up them 5 units. From what I heard briefly, if you're 50 acres of open area, you got 50 acres, and you're going, well, I'm a half acre, 2 units per acre, we're going for the 100 units. I honestly think as pretty as this plan is, 2 acre density on our side, because the hydrology is hell. Maybe I'm wrong about the PUD, PDD, whatever you could. Usually any other town goes for a community benefit. You want to do this higher density? Looks more dense than Akron to me, but I have no problem with that to make up your numbers. But usually if a community benefit follows us, right? It should be helping the 3 projects all connected to help the community. It's our watershed. It's our aquifer we're talking about. And I don't think a pretty picture is really going to display that. If any of you have ever come to visit us, Jason's there every day, it seems. I see him. I got a lot of respect for him. But he's the only one in the trenches, like trying to help us. And I can get into the more technical if you want, but there is a statement about responsible development planning based on prior decisions with the town board, planning board, and MJ Engineering's involvement in the drainage train debacle of the 3 connected projects. We still feel the town ought to fix it because you broke it. You really did. You approved, and Kevin Hitchcock, God help him, he came with video showing, there it is, the spring. You know another story? He's testimony. There was a berm between Fair Oaks land for 25 years, and prior to final approval, they went in at the midnight grading machine, goes and knocks it down, redirects all this continuous flow, and we're all scratching our heads up like overnight, what happened? And he predicted that 10 years ago in his video. I've got a treatment train. If none of you copied it, Jason was involved. We had video, he's got testimony, and like I said, one of the neighbors, Don White, he came in, he couldn't argue anymore. He says, I can't handle it health-wise, coming in and telling you how bad it is. We need a bypass, and I'm hoping this board, along with this nice project, maybe reconsiders the development. There's no need for those 2 estate homes dangling out there, but I know you got to make your numbers. If 100 is the number, why are you duplexes? Can't you just stay with something more fitting? We're held to, like I said, a really nice 2 acre density. We love our it's a woodland environment. It's not clear-cutted like they did Fair Oaks. And that was illegal. And it's, like I say, the horse is out of the barn now. But what we're really looking after is some responsible follow-up to make the 3 projects work, because this is our wetland. If there's a spring, something could have been done. And I didn't even meet Bill Lewis for 5 minutes. I said, don't close the notice of termination, because I'm crying foul. No NOT. The town should not sign off on it. You get me? And so beyond all the nice hydrology that's going to go, I see they may be creating new areas of wetland. Like I say, the sand is deep and dry here. We used to have 4 foot. We're lucky to have 1 or 2 foot clearance. And that's a real problem, Because we're the original 1990 well and septic that was fine and dandy. And we were told, oh, when the water goes by on Stone Church, you can't connect to it. That's a private water company. So what are you gonna do for us when our septic shit the bed? And the vestigial letter is regarding the SWIP, the longer protocol for longer term maintenance. Never done on Pheasant Run. I'm hoping to God you do it on Fair Oaks, and I hope it involves cleaning up your mess on Pheasant Run. Were corrugated under drains installed? I found out my own answer, no. They're on the MJ engineering map. Everywhere, every road, double under drain. Why? Because Vern Hoffman, Gary Robinson, Dan Laux, I got the map. I highlighted all the notes. The importance, well, here's their quote, but not only in one area. Notes citing the importance of under drains to manage to lower the net groundwater. We don't have a chance because we don't have them. Okay? The only under drains we had, Jason had to take out because they were so badly silted. And like I say, to know, we're not blaming the town on this issue, because the way I read into that, Julie Bickley said, oh, the town, like, 10 years ago, sent a bobcat into that drainage corridor. Now, Jay, what would you do if you just run a bobcat all over the 6-inch under drain? It would kind of ruin it, wouldn't it? So we had no chance of working because no one really knew what was approved by the engineers because it wasn't inspected going in. And it says right on the map, the under drainage system would cost about $3,000 per home. If you got 90 grand, no, it'd say 90 grand. We'll just go knock the berm off, redirect our run. There was a lot of shortcuts that went on. And I'm a landscape architect, and I don't lie. Okay, thank you, I yield my time.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not going to be there as long. I happen to own a lot in Pheasant Run that's the lowest one in the development. So the ditch that runs out of Pheasant Run into this new project is my ditch. Unfortunately, it's on my property. There's an easement for maintenance on it. It hasn't been maintained in years. The concern that I have is that I don't know what kind of drainage that the new project has got for the wetland. Does it have any idea what kind of drainage you got for the wetland?
They're going to avoid it, Bob. They're going to have to avoid it. Unless it's in their permit. They can't discharge into that area.
Well,
Am I wrong?
That's correct, yeah. We would not be discharging into the wetlands.
I didn't say discharge. You got anything that's going out of the wetland?
No.
You don't?
No,
What
we're
happens
not
when the
impacting
wetland
within-
gets bigger?
You want me to quickly respond?
Sure.
Yeah. So, as you can see on the plan here, the project is not going to be disturbing anything within 100 feet of those wetlands. So we would not be impacting the wetlands at all. We're not crossing them, we're not even coming close to them.
What happens when the wetland gets bigger?
Yeah, right. It's gonna come our way.
We can only go based on what the wetlands are today.
Well, the
Bingo.
wetland is right to my backyard.
My backyard too, and you should see the pictures I have. I'm in that central drain, and it's part of my property, and I can't get dry. I'm sump pumping out of my backyard into that central area.
Ma'am, can we
Because
just let
of
this
the
gentleman finish and then I'll let you speak, okay? Go ahead, sir.
I think we're gonna end up, and I'm gonna end up flooded, right? Because water's gonna flow down, more water is gonna flow from Fair Oaks into Pheasant Run. And apparently, if you can't drain the wetland's gonna get bigger.
That's right.
And it's right up to my backyard. Now, it's muddy up there. the water drains and it's like a delta, you know, it wanders around. So eventually there's a drainage, Jason, that you said it goes across Stone Ridge Road someplace?
Stone Church Road.
Stone Church Road. It seems to me that we're gonna have to worry about that, or we're gonna be stuck, and we're gonna get flooded. And I'm the first one to be affected, Mary's gonna be affected.
Bob did mention if he was concerned if the culverts were undersized, like we were undersized, for the drainage treatment on the whole network crossing Stone Church, excuse me, at the end of the wetland, right? You want to make sure it's draining.
I think that you really gotta make sure
Because
that the
people do
drainage of
garden
the new
mows, right?
project gets the heck out of there. Okay? If it, otherwise, it's gonna be a problem.
Bob, can I get your last name and your address?
Hannah, Hanna, 28 Pheasant Run.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Ron Trimper, 668 Ackland Boulevard. I got an issue with the density on the Ackland side. I've got one of the houses that's gonna butt right up to the property. Looking at the traffic, it's, what does it say, an extra 100 cars coming out, basically doubling the amount of traffic in that area in the morning. You ever seen what it's like when the buses are there? It's dangerous as it is. It's gonna get worse. 2 years ago, when this first came out, my son was working on Citizenship Community Merit Badge, came to talk to people on the board, asked them, what are you gonna do to help our house? Because when they cut those trees down, like they did in Fair Oaks, my backyard disappears. I can't use it. And they said, oh, we'll make sure that there's something there. We'll make sure there's something there when we do that. I see this new plan, nothing's changed. I know there's not a lot of homes that's gonna be negatively impacted, but those are our homes. 20 years to have somebody who wants to make a lot of money by squeezing way too many houses into an area. They were talking about the wetlands on the other side. Do you know what it's like in the spring when the rains come back there? How much water's back there? Do you guys know how flooding is gonna happen to those homes? Because it does get soggy back there. 6 o'clock start time, if it takes as long to build that as it does Fair Oaks, I'm gonna have 2 years of getting up to sometimes crack of dawn. It's not acceptable. What school district, do you know what they're going to?
I'm not sure.
Because if it is Saratoga, there's no room in that school right now. Division Street is overpopulated. And that's where we go, which means that's where they'll go, which means that you even have a bigger problem now. Now you're gonna be busing kids to the other side of the city. All right, there's no room in Division Street for them. You guys talked to Rollins Hollow about the water?
Yeah.
Did you ask them about all the complaints they get on a regular basis when water's out and brown water? They can't manage our homes, let alone 100 new ones.
They absolutely can't manage our.
Yeah, we can do it. Sure, you can ask somebody, they'll tell you they can do it. They'll figure it out later, but it won't. And you talked about the water and sewer connections off of Stone Church and Ackland. Where are those connecting exactly, do you know?
I believe they're on the south side of the road.
So are they gonna be along Stone Church in Ackland?
Yes.
Okay. But again, for me, I like to know what's gonna happen in my yard, because when they cut all those trees down, within a year, all my trees are gonna be down, because there's no gonna be any buffer anymore. And now I got these houses butted up against my backyard. All right, we're voters, we live here for a long time, and we'd rather not see that there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Richard Whitaker, 34th Avenue. I'd like to go here for a moment. This is my house. nothing could ever be built there. I don't know if I believe that, but, all these years have gone by, it hasn't. Fair Oaks, we got lulled into sleep. Fair Oaks was they clear cut the whole place, which was a joke, but when that happened, it took a long time for houses to go in, for homes to be built. We always had a wet backyard right here, but not overwhelming. And over time, every year, if you had a bad spring, we had a little bit of wetness. I didn't love it, we didn't like it, but it wasn't like ridiculous where we wanted to move. As soon as those homes started going in Fair Oaks, I have pictures, I have my phone right here from tonight. I have ducks living in my backyard. It's a habitat. I speak for Pheasant Run people. I'm the closest to this. We're going to be underwater. My house floats. Regularly, every year it floats. We've had to install so many things at a high cost to us. Adirondack basement system, which just pumps water right back out into this. So when I hear this wetland, which is massive, there's no plan for that to help that move. I don't know where you put it, but it's getting bigger. Thank you, Bob, because it's getting bigger. And with this coming in, it will increase, and my house is going to be more underwater than it already is. I know we've already referred to Mary. Mary's propane tank floated to the surface last year. Floated to the surface. That's insane. That's like from a movie. That's Poltergeist. Remember that stuff? Right? Listen, Mr. Ostrander. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We were told Forever Wild, this was a bog. It is.
Who told you it was Forever Wild?
My realtor, the
The
builder.
realtor lied to you. That's who you should be mad at.
I'm mad at a lot of things.
My family's owned this property for over 100 years.
I talked to you,
It's
sir.
like-
I talked to you a long time ago when I first moved in.
I don't know. You might
I
talk
did.
to my other brother, but I don't know.
No, I talked to you.
person should have
And I talked to you on the board of our properties, our borders up
Let
there.
him speak, okay? Thank you.
So, I'm just saying that it's ugly. I can't imagine how it's helping my property value. I don't know who would want to buy it. We're in it. And I want to piggyback on what Ed said. We're still there. We love it here. We've lived here we've raised our families here. But this is too much. In Fair Oaks, it was a slow kill because it happened a little bit slowly, but it happened. And I can walk in and we can just watch that water go right across, making its way into this, making it bigger, and flooding my backyard, which is the primary, but it goes right down the line. I'm not pointing myself. I'm the first one to get hit, and you can come there today and see my water. I have pictures on my phone. It's beautiful, 3 sides. There's only one front. The front is dry, but the whole hallway around it is a pond right now. And this is going to get worse. This has to drain. I feel for Ackland, they're right, this is crazy. But obviously it's not affecting me as much, although every time you dig a hole, they're pushing stuff out somewhere.
Water displays.
So there's realities to this. We've already lived them for a long time. Thank you very much, Ed, for being so detailed. And it's only gonna get worse. It's certainly doesn't. I haven't heard anything that's telling me it's gonna get better. We are underwater. We will continue to be more underwater with this.
Have you seen the county topological maps to show you what the?
I have a reality that I live. It's my backyard and it's underwater. And it's gonna get worse. And it's gotten worse each year since Fair Oaks, and right now it's ridiculous. And the amount of time that pond is there. It doesn't dry out. My sump pump, by the way, my sump pump system that cost me 10 grand to put in, runs 24/7 all winter long. Maybe in that dry August it'll shut down, that's it, maybe. And that never was that way until Fair Oaks got finished, or it got close to finished. Then it's totally doubled in the time that the sump system ran. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mary Burton, and I live at 21 Pheasant Run. Up until about a year and a half or so ago, my sump pump never ran. I moved in the year 2000. It never ran. I, too, would get some ponding in the backyard. The yearly ducks would come, and I thought, oh, how cute, and they'd be gone in a week or so, and everything would dry up. A year and a half ago, with Fair Oaks coming in, my sump pump started. In fact, I was in, and I said, I don't even know what am I hearing? And then I realized it was a sump pump. It's not stopped. And given the age or whatever, it did go out on Sunday. My basement's under 6 inches of water. I've contacted homeowners. I have pictures everywhere, many ruined items. I've been sump pumping my backyard last spring, and again this spring, sump pumping. I literally I'm afraid to leave my house. I put the sump pump in the ground and pump it to that central ditch. I'm the central ditch. I was on vacation. I worked for Saratoga Springs School District. I was on vacation for spring break, and my friend Lenny and I went out and we moved some of those rocks because nothing was draining in that central system. We moved some of the rocks so that we could get some flow going, because the township did come in and they nothing was maintained. When I first moved in, they said, hey, you gotta keep that easement open so that we can come in and maintain the drainage. Fine, did that. It was never maintained. And it overgrew, and then like a wetlands would. And so then they came in, I guess it was the end of last summer or so, they came in and really did everything that they possibly could, and most of that old drainage was taken out. There's still some there. In fact, I put some out with my last brush that I put out, my last cleaning. And it's on my property. There's glass on my property. Must have been from years, people throwing bottles or whatever. So it's all crushed now, but it's difficult to maintain. So I was trying to clean that to get the drainage going during my break. I fell and slipped on the rocks and hit my head, just trying to maintain the flow. Something needs to be done. It's blocked. We need to have the drainage going. We need to address this wetlands. You don't want it backing up on everybody, and it is backing up on us, and we are literally a bathtub. I've had 2 people in looking at my backyard. One person actually is married to my friend Lenny's cousin, and he works for Milton, and he said, you know, yeah, you've got a problem here. So I'm trying to figure out, maybe possibly I'm bringing in fill and putting my own drainage system in, because I was never hooked into the original drainage system. I was one of the last homes built in 2000. So it's an issue for everybody. And yes, I took pictures again today too, and I'm underwater, and I'm sump pumping my backyard for the second time. Had it pretty much, drained. Got Sunday's rain, and it's right back up there. And I mean, I'm not talking small sump pumps. I'm putting it in a bucket, putting it out there, running it. I can't be a slave to my house and worry about water constantly, and neither can anybody else. I have kids that live across the country. I need to go visit them. I'm a school teacher for Saratoga, by the way. Saratoga elementary schools are quite full. So we need help. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
John O'Rourke, 3 Van Tassel Lane. I have a question. The water is coming from Rollins Hollow Waterworks, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm a resident of Rollins Hollow, but I am not on that system. I have a drilled well, as do many of my neighbors around me. And the lower part of Ichabod Lane, some years back, a number of those wells have failed. And my question is, in this project that you have over here, was any study been done to determine whether or not you can have a negative impact on the existing drilled wells in the existing Rollins Hollow area that taps from the same water that Rollins Hollow Waterworks does.
No study's been done today.
Can you answer my question?
Yeah, no study's been done today. Nope, we have not done any well studies for the area in Rollins Hollow.
So we don't know whether or not it's gonna have a negative impact.
No, well, no, we have not done a study, so that's something we can look at.
Thank you. Anyone else? Amanda, anyone via Zoom?
Nope.
Hearing none. I would like to get a motion to keep this public hearing open until the May 24th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
I'm gonna recuse myself from any votes on this project. But I see a need here to keep this open, but it's not an official vote.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. I would also like to get a second motion to refer the application back to the planning board for review of the current plan and for consideration from Saratoga County.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
I'll recuse myself.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Before we proceed on the next public hearing, I know a lot of people are here for that public hearing for the CSR. If you would like to exit, I'll give you a few minutes before we continue the meeting.
Tom, was this something you said?
Before we continue, Councilman Frolich had some questions for EDP.
We really haven't had a chance to discuss this whole project much as a town board. I have some serious concerns with the density of this project. I see we're trying to put 100 units on roughly 26 acres of land. When you take out the open space, the wetlands, all that, and that's on your drawing. So that means we're down to less than quarter-acre lots.
Yeah, so as far as density goes, normally with the calculations, you would use what's developable.
That's correct.
And you're correct. We have approximately, it's actually 11 acres of wetlands on the 83 acres.
You have 11 acres of wetlands and then 10 acres of buffer.
And then there would be typically some buffer area, correct?
I guess my question is, and I really have trouble with your setbacks in your PDD. Number one, when we look at 20 foot back from the roadway, how would you envision that to work when in the wintertime the town doesn't allow parking? 20 feet allows for one car. Where do the visitors?
So yeah, for the, right now, the way the layout is, we have the roads set up and the driveway set up. So every house would have a 2-car garage for sure. So you would have,
You're showing.
I think that's what we were showing, I'm pretty sure. And that's what our intention is, to make sure that each one of the driveways has enough for 2 cars out front and then a 2-car garage. So that's 4 cars for each lot.
I guess when I look at your side setbacks of 7.5 feet, that's 15 feet between houses, which is less than half this room. If a homeowner chooses to put up a fence and have a 7.5 foot setback on the sides, how does the fire department access that to go around back to fight the fire?
So they do have room, Again, we can get the opinion from the local fire department, but I do know that we've done other projects with side yard setbacks of approximately 7 to 8 feet.
Not in the town of Milton.
I don't know if there's any in the town of Milton, I'm not sure.
And I guess with the backyard setback at, I think was either 10 or 20 feet?
Yeah.
10 feet. How do people enjoy their backyards when it's only 10 foot wide?
Well, again, it depends on the lots. Right now, we can certainly give more area to the individual lots. We were attempting to get as much open space into the homeowners association. So that's why we went with the narrower and not as deep lots. But certainly we can increase the rear yards of the lots that are being proposed.
What kind of square footage are we looking for this single family houses?
So most of the homes would probably be about 2,000 square feet, I would say.
2-story or single story?
Two-story.
Because you certainly wouldn't have enough to get 2,000 feet single story.
Right, that's correct.
I really look, when I look at this project and I look at half-acre lots, which we have in all big R1, I just think we're creating real neighbor problems by having houses so close together with no place for kids to play. We're gonna build a development for starter homes, which means probably young kids. And you're not even gonna give them a backyard big enough to put a swing set in.
Again, these are starter homes. The attempt here is to minimize not only the area that's being disturbed total, but also the road network itself. We've heard this evening a lot of concerns over stormwater, and one of the first things that we try to do is limit the amount of stormwater that's generated not only from the driveways and the homes, but also the roads. So by keeping it more condensed, as we're showing it, I think we're being sensitive to some of the stormwater problems that the residents have been
Can you tell me on the east side, you probably can't answer this tonight, if that was strictly half-acre lots, how many homes would there be?
Yeah, I can't really say, just on that east side, it would be quite a bit less for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I guess my other question is, you're gonna run all the stormwater to the east side of the road?
No, there will be stormwater management. I know this particular drawing doesn't actually show a stormwater, but yeah, there would be a stormwater management area also on that side.
I guess why didn't we show that?
We can make sure that that's on the next map.
I mean, that's the
Yep.
people's biggest concern
Right,
tonight.
yes, and again, you can see that we're highly sensitive to that side of the property due to the wetlands. So we would make sure that we would not only not impact the wetlands, but also make sure that we're not increasing any drainage that goes towards them.
Yeah, I guess my biggest point I'm trying to make is I think this is way too dense.
Mhm.
I think some adjustment has to be made before I'll be in favor of it, for sure.
Okay.
When I look at, and I understand, and probably the neighbors won't understand as much, as far as wetlands go, you can't move your water onto somebody else's property.
That's correct.
So there really isn't a whole lot you can do to drain a wetland.
No, we can't drain the wetland, no.
You can't.
No,
There's no place to put it.
right.
And again, the one valid question is, what benefit is the town getting from this?
So we have been looking at that, and I think that we'll have further discussions over what town benefits. I know there's been talk of trails and multi-use trails and things of that nature, so we would be able to hopefully have something a little bit more concrete for the next meeting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hi everybody, Justin Grassi, attorney for the project. First I wanted to say, Councilman Froelich, I appreciate your comments. One of the things we've run up against is, we're going back to the planning board now. We may come back here, get more comments from the town board. If things change again, we kind of end up in a circular pattern. So the more feedback now, obviously, the more benefit for us, so we can potentially tweak any of the legislation here. So I appreciate your comments on that. And I also wanted to mention that the other benefit here, with the reason why we're looking at a PDD is, as this board is, I'm sure, fully aware, what you can seek is a simple subdivision, a conventional subdivision. And with a conventional subdivision, we do have, as mentioned by the planning board in their recommendation letter, we have 66 acres, and 66 acres gets us 130 lots. So, and 130 lots, could you spread them, throughout the parcels? Yeah, but what the purposes of a PDD, which is the benefit we get to have, is we get the public input, we get the town board to take a look and say, it makes more sense to have some denser area here rather than over here, avoid the wetlands the best possible, and put those protective measures, because we get to look at this as a specific project with the PDD as opposed to just the general legislation there. So that's the other, we do think there is an inherent benefit of the PDD, which is important, because when we're talking about public benefits, we don't necessarily need that when we're going the route of just a conventional subdivision, but there is a benefit, an inherent benefit to a PDD for this.
I guess I don't want to get in a back and forth argument with you. When you have 26 acres of buildable land, how do you get 66 acres of lots out of that? Because you can't build on the right of way for the wetlands, you can't build on the border for the wetlands, so where do you get 66 acres in this project?
I guess this is the calculation of buildable land, which is that land which is not constrained by wetlands or buffers.
That's what I'm going from your drawings. So 26 acres, which means you're only going to put in is 52.
Well, that's assuming that you can't get any permission from, that's assuming you can't get any permission from DEC to go into the buffer.
Yeah, that's assuming that assumption.
Yep.
For reality purposes, you're only going to get 52 houses.
We've done some layouts, I believe we've done some layouts that get us closer to 70 or 80, I believe.
We're all set, thank you.
Okay, guys?
Thank you.
Great.
I give you guys a minute if you want.
Yeah, I just gotta tear down some stuff and get out of here.
I'll give you a minute.
So you're the Joe Gamble place at Caesar's?
Yes, good seeing you. Yeah.
So you're the Jones guy?
Thanks for coming, man, for the film. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I stuck at that guy.
It's funny. I know you did fine.
My brother knows.
How you doing?
I want you to let know that you're the lowlands, we're lower than his land, and he's carrying us. Realtor, so the realtor. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hoo-ha. Take care.
It's fully down. I emailed you.
Yes, I saw it. Thank you. That was good information.
Okay, everyone, moving on with the meeting. The next part of the meeting is a public hearing, number 2, on local law number 2 of 2023 regarding dogs in various town parks. Amanda, could you read the notice, please?
Please take notice that the town board of the town of Milton will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 26, 2023 at 6:40 p.m. on local law 2 of 2023 to amend the code of the town of Milton, chapter 63, article 3, section 63 to 13 and section 63-13.1. Full copies of the local law are available at the town website.
Thank you, Amanda. Public hearing number 2 is now open for anyone that would like to speak. Yes, sir.
My name is Tim Bantham, 32 Birch Tree Lane. I am a dog owner, and by default, that makes me a dog lover. I mean, who doesn't love their dog, right? But I also believe in being a responsible dog owner, and as I understand the current town code, it requires dogs to be on a leash while in town parks, and what this resolution is doing is further enhancing that, so we are requiring leashes while the dog is on the playground within town parks. I believe that that's common sense, and I think that's the right thing to do, so I'm here tonight to express my support for the board in passing this resolution. Thank you.
Sir, just give you that, Dave, back me up. No dogs are allowed in the playground area, correct?
Correct. Inside the fence playground.
Inside the fence playground area, they're fine. In the park
okay.
itself, no playground areas.
Even better. Sorry,
Okay.
I misspoke.
Oh, that's okay.
I knew that.
Anyone else like to speak?
Can I just
Yes, Dave.
interject to clarify? So right now, there are no dogs allowed in Burgess Kimball Park. So this change to the legislation would allow for people to take their dogs on a leash through the park with the exception of the playground area. That's it.
Anyone else? Anyone via Zoom? Hearing none, motion to close the public hearing.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Froelich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Next on the agenda is public comment number 1 on agenda items only. Anyone like to speak? Public comment. Yes, ma'am.
Hopefully this mic won't attack me. Martina Bantham, 32 Birch Tree Lane. I would like to speak on the resolution to renew the contract for the the Director of Economic Development. When I saw that on the agenda, I was hoping to find some more documentation supporting that resolution. As a resident, I don't really know whether I support it or not because I don't have any information on what this person has done for the last year. It would be really nice to see like a cost-benefit analysis or something like that, or even just a listing of, I guess he's supposed to form committees and make appointments to committees and recommend suggestions for various town codes. I mean, there's been a lot of great things that the town has done in the past year. Is some of that as a result of this? That just, you know, as a resident, I would like more information on things like this when they come up. And hopefully, maybe the board can address that before they vote on the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. John, do you want to address anybody in reference to economic development of what you've done? Yes, go ahead.
In the past year, on several occasions, I did submit reports publicly to the board. Excuse me. In regards to the activities that I'm involved with and the things that I've been doing, and also privately, I've been talking to the supervisor and advising him of the things that I've been involved with, things that I cannot necessarily come publicly with, because they're in private discussions, and with economic development, many things have to be kept confidential until things really start rolling. And so you apparently missed some of the meetings that I gave my reports on, and I'll be glad to send you one of my reports if you send me, I'll give you my card, you send me your email, and I'll give you one of my reports that I sent, okay? I'm glad to do that.
I think the point is that it should be public record and perhaps be on the town website available for us to download.
Economic development is a slow process, as the developers of the town center can attest to. It's taken a long time to get where we are right now with the town center. And a lot of these things, they are not made public. We are not aware of them until we know that they are in fact happening. And when something is happening, you can be the first ones to know. And as long as I'm up here, I'll give you a little bit of economic development that's been happening. The Gateway House of Peace, I was talking to one of the people several months ago. They were looking for a place that they can go and have a thrift store, instead of having their garage sale all the time down there. And at that time, this is when Dave Swinton of Geyser Vacuum closed down. And I had a conversation with him. He said he wanted to sell his property, or maybe at least lease it out. So I spoke to him, I spoke to Gateway House of Peace, we put them together, and now Gateway House of Peace is a tenant in the former Geyser Vacuum House. So we do not have an empty storefront. Little steps of economic development. We take the little ones with the big ones. But matter of fact, let me give you my card right now.
Yes.
Send me an email.
Hi, good evening, Jason Gertler, 99 Rollins Street. I just wanted to give a little opinion about the dog law. I myself am a dog lover, not a dog owner. I do have 2 young children who we frequent the park on a regular basis. Now, responsible dog owners responsibly keep their dogs on a leash. That's great. Dogs have their own personalities, as we know. They may or may not get along with your dog. When dogs see each other, they are curious, and sometimes they're defensive to their family or to their location. So I grew up, like I said, I love dogs. Dogs are awesome. I grew up afraid of dogs. I have 2 young sons who are also afraid of large dogs. Large dogs are friendly. They jump, they bark, they're loud, they have a deep, gruff voice. I'm just concerned that allowing this type of access to the parks where little kids are, they may or may not be friendly with dogs or dog lovers. So again, I'm not against dogs, I just would like to have a place for kids to go, not to be afraid of dogs. Thank you.
Anyone else? Children?
Hi, Michelle Judah, 34 Van Tassel Lane. My primary reason for coming up here tonight is to say thank you, so I want to start with that. Really appreciate the agenda coming out a few days early. I really appreciate there being some descriptors as to what we're going to be talking about under old and new business. It really helps people prepare and be involved and be able to show up if there's something that's on that agenda that they want to talk about. So I do appreciate that. I also appreciate in the motion in regards to the Director of Economic Development, there was a little bit more information there than there was last year, including what we would be paying for that position. I didn't intend to address this, but I definitely second what Martina, correct, what Martina said in regards to that. There is a bad habit, with all due respect, I'm sure you're doing great things and I fully understand what you're saying about there needs to be some confidentiality about the type of work you're doing, as there does with contracts that you might be working on. Understand that, but there is a bad habit in the town of Milton of telling people, call me privately, meet me in the office, send me an email and I'll give you the information. And Martina is correct. This is public business. There are quarterly reports that are filed per that contract. I assume they're being filed. There should be some information that's available to us that we can have some sense of what's being done without, compromising your ability to plan and make deals and do the things that you need to do. The other thing that I planned on mentioning tonight, though, is that I'm really glad that there's going to be a little bit of a discussion about the plan on Woods Hollow. Appreciate that as well. I appreciate that Jason Miller, came to the village meeting. We were able to hear from Jason a little bit about the plans. There are residents who continue to be concerned about what's going to be developed at Woods Hollow. So it'd be really great to hear in a public setting from our town board members, not reading it in the paper, not picking it up at the village meetings, what are we planning on doing with that so that we know. And, I surmise, that part of why we're doing this is that some of the residents are concerned about the plan for, the forest management, and they don't want, they feel like it's taking too many trees and it's not gonna come back, it's gonna be an eyesore for a while. I can appreciate that, that's residents here who might have that concern, but as a resident, I'm also concerned for the longevity of the forest, and I want to know if the board, my understanding is Milton plans on doing that work, but doing it more slowly. Do you have professional advice to that? Is there somebody telling you that that's a good way to manage it? Because I certainly have heard from LUMAC, I've heard from some other people who seem to know about this, who really feel that the plan that LUMAC was putting forward is the best plan for the long-term health of the forest. So I'd like to know how the board's coming to those decisions, kind of similar to what we were hearing in the first public hearing. Are we missing something? Do we have the right expert advice to make sure we're doing the best thing for the property? We all love it, we all care about it. I would like to also understand, why is it in the benefit of the residents of the town of Milton to spend this much money for us to be able to say that we own it? So I'm hoping to hear that in the conversation. But thank you very much for, getting the information out to us and letting us be prepared. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anybody using? No, hearing none. Public comment number 1 is now closed. Next, resolution number 44 of 2023, resolution enacting local law 2 of 2023 to modify the town code chapter 63 entitled Animals. Whereas the town board, planning board has been reviewing various town zoning regulations and related laws, and now therefore be resolved that the town clerk be and she hereby is directed to enter in the local law in the minutes of the meeting in the local law book of the town of Milton and give due notice of the adoption of the said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. Therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Milton hereby approves the modification of the current town code 63 and adopts local law 2 of 2023, replacing sections 6313 and 6313-1 of the town code and adding new sections 63-13-2, 63-13.3, 63-13.4, 64.13-5, 63-13-6, a full copy in which local law is attached hereto and therefore to be resolved by the town board, town of Milton. Motion for resolution number 44.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
If I could just call out one thing quickly, for the gentleman in the back who had concerns about dogs being in the vicinity of children playing. So in here it specifically calls out for the Suzanne Lyle Memorial Park or the Suzanne Lyle Playground.
no dogs are permitted in that park at all, as well as in the Burgess Kimball Memorial Park within the playground area. So there may still be some limitations if your children are looking to use the basketball courts or potentially baseball, soccer, but there are still options available. That's all.
Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Froelich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Next, Resolution 45, 2023, resolution to hire recreational directors for arts and crafts and sports, and to hire assistant recreation director, and to hire summer camp counselors and staff for the 2023 summer camp program. Whereas the town is in need and desirous of hiring recreation directors in arts and crafts and for sports, an assistant recreation director, and summer counselors for the staff of the town of Milton for the 2023 summer camp program. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board, after due consideration, does hereby appoint and hire Anne Marie White of 509 Ronald Street, Ballston Spa, New York, 12020 as recreational director for arts and crafts. Morgan Druin of 2958 Route 29 Road Road, New York, 12850 as recreation director of sports. Both to be paid an hourly rate of $19.30 per hour, and Jennifer Greer of 184 West North Street, Ballston Spa, New York, 12020 as the assistant recreation director, and to be paid an hourly rate of $24.14 per hour for the town of Milton 2023 summer program, with each of their terms to commence May 1st, 2023. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to rehire and or hire summer counselors and staff for the 2023 summer camp program, and to advertise for said positions as where needed. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution number 45.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Froelich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Next, resolution 46, 2023, resolution to appoint John David Wood as a member to the zoning board of appeals of the town of Milton. Whereas the town of Milton zoning board of appeals currently has a vacancy, and the town has decided to move up the current alternate zoning board member to the position of zoning board member. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board, town of Milton hereby appoints John David Wood of 37 Whippletree Road, Milton, Ballston Spa, New York, 12020 as a full-time member of the zoning board of appeals to the town of Milton, which appointment will take effect and shall be in effect till April 27th of 2023 and end on December 31st of 2027 at a salary of $1,000 per year. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution number 46.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Froelich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Any resolution 47?
I have 47.
Skips.
Pass that.
Next, resolution 47, 2023, resolution to appoint Patrick Terhune as an alternate member to the zoning board of appeals of the town of Milton, whereas the town of Milton has duly appointed zoning board of appeals comprised of 5 members and 1 alternate member, all appointed to the town board for staggered terms. And now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Milton hereby appoints Patrick Terhune of 300 Metal Arc Drive, Ballston Spa, New York, 12020 as an alternate member of the zoning board of appeals of the town of Milton, which appointment will take effect and shall be effective April 27, 2023, and then December 31st of 2023, at a salary of $1,000 per year. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution number 47.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes,
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Resolution number 48 has been pulled from the agenda. Next, resolution number 49. Resolution number 49, resolution to enter in a contract for a director of economic planning, whereas the town board had previously engaged an outside individual to act as a director of economic planning to develop and implement economic advancement plans and objectives for the town, and to recommend individuals for committees chosen by the director of economic planning to review, provide suggested modification to the town's comprehensive plan, town center guidelines, and or other areas of the town code for review and consideration by the town board. And therefore be it resolved that the town board is hereby authorized, agree, and consent to and ratify allowing the town supervisor to enter into and renew an independent contract agreement with John E. Olenek of 3 Van Tassel Lane, Bolson Spa, New York 12020 as the director of economic planning for the town of Milton in the amount of $36,000 per year, and further hereby authorizes the town supervisor to sign the contract and execute all as needed and necessary for documentation. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution number 49.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Is that right?
Right.
Any discussion?
Just one quick thing, and I was listening to the ladies. Do you think it's possible that John could give us a written report every month? That way it can get filed and...
If that's what the board requests, absolutely, 100%. John, if this passes, you'll be required to do a monthly report to the town board. If this motion passes, you'll be required to do a monthly report to the town board.
So that thing is already covered in my contract. It's a quarterly report.
The town board is going to modify that to do, you're going to be required to do a monthly. If you don't want to, then we can pull this from the agenda.
Fine.
Okay?
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes,
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Next, resolution number 50 of 2023, resolution to accept the report entitled Preliminary Design Report for the Rollins Street parcel new highway facility prepared by Delaware Engineering DPC. Whereas the Town Building Department Planning Board and Facilities Committee has indicated and recommended that the town board consider developing a site plan and a building layout for relocating the town's highway department facilities to the town-owned Rollins Street parcel as part of the multi-phase capital planning project. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby acknowledges receipt and accepts the report entitled Preliminary Design Report, Rollins Street Parcel New Highway Facility prepared by Delaware Engineering DPC. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution number 50.
I'll make that motion.
second,
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
yes,
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Next, resolution 51, 2023, resolution to hire building maintenance worker for the town of Milton. Whereas the town is desirous of hiring a building maintenance worker, and now therefore be it resolved, town board after due consideration does hereby appoint and hire Charles Wolf of 1427 Saratoga Road, Apartment 16, Bolson Spa, New York 12020 as a grade 4 building maintenance worker, step 2, at an hourly rate of $22.24 per hour, full-time, with benefits as are provided by the town personnel policy, if any, and was set higher to be conditioned on a 6-month probationary period wherein his performance is and remains acceptable to the town board and pursuant to the town policy. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution 51.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Next, Resolution 52 of 2023, resolution to authorize the town to use up to $340,000 from the cold storage building and fuel island station specification capital reserve fund for engineering services for that project and to be open in a separate bank account for the project. Whereas the town of Milton Comptroller has requested authorization for the use of up to $340,000 from the cold storage building and fuel island specification reserve to pay for engineering services related to the project previously authorized by the town of Milton, resolution number 36 of 2023. And now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby authorizes town supervisor and town comptroller to use up to $340,000 from the cold storage building and fuel island station specific capital reserve fund to open one project specific bank account with Balsas National Bank for the purpose of holding, managing, tracking, and dispersing the said sum up to $340,000 for engineering services related to the cold storage building and fuel line station relocation project as recommended by the town comptroller. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution 52.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Next, a motion to approve the advertisement for the bid specifications for a fuel dispensing system at the Round Street Highway facility.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Next, a motion to approve vacation leave buyout requested by William Lewis.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes. Next, department and committee reports. Animal control.
You just
Animal control monthly report for March of 2023. Total calls 101. Bite cases 3. Dangerous dog hearings 1. Animal seized 5. Tickets issued. Unlicensed dog 4. Running at large 1. Nuisance dog 1. When muzzled required 0. With a total of 6. Respectfully submitted, Dave Brzezinski. Animal control. Next, building department.
During the month of March, the building department processed 13 building permits and collected $8,806.65 in building permit fees. We completed 95 construction inspections, 18 fire safety inspections, and responded to 11 code enforcement complaints and violations. A total of 13 certificate of occupancies and 6 certificates of compliance were issued. Also collected were $1,250 in planning and zoning fees.
Thanks, Sean. Next, buildings and grounds.
During the month of March, I completed many projects along with my cleaning and daily cleaning of all town hall offices in the community center. I recently remodeled the handicap bathroom and the men's and women's bathroom at the community center. The bathrooms now have new floors, baseboards, vanities, sinks, faucets, and a new coat of paint. Boy, are our seniors happy. I'm also working on estimates for the new AC unit at the community center and ADA door openers for the community center and town hall. The community center will be having the floors all refinished by the end of April. That's being done this week. It's done. Thanks, Jason. The community center's been totally closed down this week for that. Respectfully submitted, Mark Leroy, maintenance supervisor.
Thanks, Barb. Comptroller's financial reporting package issued to the town board and is made available for public inspection on our website. Next, John, do you have anything economic development related this week?
No, I talked about it.
Okay, thank you. Next, highway department.
Okay, the highway department has begun their spring cleanup. We urge town residents to bring their leaves and lawn debris curbside before May 15th. The spring cleanup concludes to protect our equipment and to avoid pickup of your debris. We ask the leaves and sticks please be separated. Town residents can also bring their lawn debris to the transfer station located 503 Geyser Road. Transfer station hours are Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday will start on April 29th and will be from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have completed mailbox and lawn repairs from the winter season. If we have missed your house, please contact the highway office, 518-885-5655. The town of Milton will be partnering with Twin Bridges for a refuge collection program for the town of Milton residents. Containers will be placed at the town of Milton complex, 503 Geyser Road on Saturday, April 20th, which is this Saturday, and Saturday, May 6th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Proof of residency will be needed for all participants. Please see the attached flyer for further information.
Thanks, John. Next up, Mike.
Good evening, Mike Companion, town historian. I don't want to spend too much time tonight because I know we've heard a lot tonight already. And basically, I just want to go over some of the things I've done just recently. We had a 250th Revolutionary War Committee, discussed a number of plans for promoting the Revolutionary War 250th anniversary for a variety of activities and events. We continue to work on the plans for the historic kiosk commemorating the raid on Boston Spa in 1780. We also discussed a trivia night on American Revolution at Dozers on October 17th. Anybody wants to attend? If you like history, I'd like to see you there. Bring a team. Team of 4. You gonna be there?
Are you buying beer?
Yeah.
Free beer?
Well, we're awarding drinks for the winning teams. So October 17th. It's a Tuesday night, so it's a slow night for Dozers. We are going to be honoring 3 Revolutionary War veterans buried at the South Milton Cemetery on April 30th at 1 o'clock, so that's next Sunday. With the installation of a new sign recognizing their service, which I showed last month. Everyone's invited if you want to come. Okay. April 16th, we facilitated and took part in a cleanup and repair day at the Oakwood Cemetery, which lasted from 9 to 2:30 as part of an Eagle Scout project led by Eagle Scout candidate Sean Pausley. We were able to clean up the grave sites, excavated many stones which were buried, repaired the fence, and installed a path to the grave sites from the road for about 75 yards. It's much more, if you ever drove by it, it's much more open. You can actually see the graveyard. You can get to it. And we're planning on doing a lot more work because the people were so appreciative, the people in the community. A lot of them turned out. I think we had 24 people involved, including Boy Scouts, residents of Oakwood Court, students and their families from Saratoga and Boston Spa showed up. And again, they really like the work we've done. I have reports of kids going there and hanging out right now. So it's a lot of kids who took part are interested in the graves, the dates. They're amazed by how old the graves are. In fact, we had a new request by Boy Scouts to continue the project. We're going to do some more work in there. So it was going to go. I think it's going to be going from the worst cemetery in the town to one of the better ones. Hopefully by the end of this year. I also want to thank Jason and his crew. They took a lot of the debris out of there. They chopped the trees up, hauled them away, which we wouldn't be able to get in there if they hadn't done that. They dropped out the stone dust. We used it all in some regard. So again, thanks. I thank the guys. Some of the guys I saw already.
Great.
So, right. So anyway, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike.
Again, I hope to see you. Hope to see you on April 30th. If you want to go to the ceremony.
Next, Justice Court.
Just a report for the month of March 2023. Fines collected, $3,088. Surcharges, $2,697. Civil fees, $835 for a total of $6,620.
Thank you, Laura. Next, planning zone, right?
For the March zoning board meeting, there was one item on the agenda for 433 Joseph Street, area variance for a garage. That matter is also before the planning board, which was on their agenda for their April meeting, but has been pushed to May meeting. And then the planning board meeting was held on April 12th. There was a public hearing held for the proposed aircraft storage hangar at the county airport. The site plan and special use permit was approved. The Masonic Lodge site plan and special use permit public hearing has been set for May 10th. The 71 Rollins Street site plan and special use permit has a public hearing set for May 10th as well. This is the site of what is formerly known as Benedict, or the Navy Hospital site. There is some vacant space in the building, and the potential buyer is looking to convert that into a private school space. 202 North Line Road, formerly known as the Sunmark Federal Credit Union, site plan review and special use permit for a potential gas station and convenience store. Due to its location, there are multiple agencies that are needed to review the project. No action was taken. And then last, for 240 Greenfield Avenue major subdivision, an extension was requested and approved. That is all.
Thank you, Ron. Lisa, do you have anything on taxes?
Good evening, everybody. The 2023 tax collection season has ended, and my tax collection warrant has expired. So the tax office collected a total of $8,219,290.23 this year, which includes $12,702.02 in penalties and $442 in the second notice fees. I've paid a total of $2,933,485.20 to the town, as directed by my 2023 tax warrant, along with penalties as previously mentioned. Any taxpayer still in need to make a tax payment for the 2023 property taxes may do so through contacting the Saratoga County Treasurer's Office. They can be reached at 518-884-4724. And tax receipts can be obtained by visiting www.egov.basny.com/Milton. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank
you. Town Clerk, Amanda.
Registrar report for March 2023. Marriages, there were 2. Certified marriage certificates, there were 5. Certified death certificates, 12. Certified birth certificates, 1. 1 genealogical research. 10 FOIL and search of record requests, 138 dog licenses, 16 of those online, 4 hunting and fishing licenses, 7 pavilion and community rentals. Total brought in $3,354, town share $3,061.41.
Thank you, Amanda. I also have a note from the Assessor's Office. 2023 tentative roll has been completed, is available for review in the Assessor's Office located at the Town of Milton, 503 Geyser Road, Ballston, New York, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The online link to review the 2023 tentative roll should be available starting May 1st of 2023. Check the Town of Milton website for updates. Grievance day is May 23rd, 2023. From 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. The tentative roll available for review with the assessor by appointment is Monday, May 8th, 2023 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, May 13th, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please contact the assessor to make an appointment. The tentative roll for review with the assessor, no appointment necessary, is May 15th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and May 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. To file a complaint, residents must complete a RP 524 form and submit supporting documentation on or before May 23rd of 2023. 6 copies are required for BAR to review. That's the Board of Assessment Review. Call and schedule a time to meet with the Board of Assessment Review starting at 4 p.m. at 518-885-8047. Summer of 2023, the Assessor's Office will be updating photos and inventory in the Town of Milton. A postcard will be sent to homeowners to notify the weeks we will be in your area. All photos will be taken from the roadside or the driveway. Residents will have the opportunity to let us know if they do not want us on the driveway. The safety of our office is top priority. The assessor's office will be driving a Town of Milton vehicle and will be wearing a Town of Milton badge. If you have any questions, please contact the assessor's office at 518-885-8047. Respectfully submitted, Town of Milton Assessor Laura Orminski. Next, discussion on new business with the board. The highway department provides a leaf collection service to our residents and converts the material into compost that is then made available to our residents for pickup between 6:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. The Suzie and Lyle Park is officially open every day between dawn and dusk. Please remember there are no pets allowed inside the playground. Kudos to Jason and his crew, first playground in the county that was open, Jason. Good job. The 33rd Annual Children's Fishing Tournament has been scheduled for May 20th from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The biggest fish to be mounted by Joe's Taxidermy and presented to the winner at the Saratoga County Fair.
We've made a couple changes to this. Normally it's the first week in May, but somebody scheduled something else that day. But it's going to be better. We moved it up about 3 weeks. I think it'll be warmer and won't be as soggy walking in there. We're only going to be stocking the 4-H ponds, the front and the back. And we're going to limit it to children up to 12 years old this year, to give the little ones an opportunity to fish and catch something. If anybody wants to volunteer, I'd love to have you. It's really a thrill. The one girl who won the Sportsman came up with a sunfish about this big. We couldn't resist. So, it's fun, and it's fun to watch the kids. Thank you.
Next, the board member discussion on old business. Michelle, if you have any specific questions for the board, you got the best of both worlds because Mayor Rossi's in attendance with us tonight. So if there's any specific questions that you are looking for, now's the time to ask them and we'll answer them. Just a reminder that the memorandum of intent for the sale was signed by both of myself and the mayor today. So the purchase of Woods Hollow is moving forward. It'll be turned over to our attorneys to iron out some details, and hopefully soon we'll have a closing date for you. But if there's any specific questions, because I know that you have specific questions, if you want to come up and address any of us right now, feel free. We'll answer any questions you have.
Sure. I mean, nothing more than what I just said. I would just, you want me to come?
Yeah, because the people on Zoom can't hear you if you're not speaking into the microphone.
I'm just going to request overtime payments for this.
I tell them all the time that these meetings are quick. Nothing more than what I asked. I would just like to understand what is the rationale for Milton to be purchasing it? So like what started this, all right? Because I like most of us in the public don't necessarily know. I think there were some residents who approached you, so I'd just like to understand that. So what's that rationale for spending the money on this? Why is it that we want to own it as opposed to just continuing to maintain it? And who is advising regarding the forest management plan that we're going to slow things down? So there was a professional who advised the village. Who has advised us that what we're proposing to do is adequate for the long-term health of the forest land? And I think a lot of residents, from what my conversations, just also would like something on the record regarding what exactly is being proposed to be put in regards to structures. We've read things, we've heard things, but we haven't heard it from here. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, you can start, John. We can all speak, but go ahead. You can start.
Just to give you some ideas on my point of view of this, Michelle, is when I heard the plan by the village to do the forestry project and looked into the forestry project, I got concerned that it would look worse than it does now, for sure. Some things that concerned me was the fact that they're going to remove 220 some odd trailer loads of wood out of that. People thought that the dead wood was going to be taken care of, which was not part of that contract. Basically, the only dead wood that would be taken care of was stuff that was either knocked down by the skidders or knocked down and tree fell. When I looked into forestry operations a little bit and looked at some of the studies like forestry in New Hampshire did about logging, they say that in a logging operation, out of every 6 trees, you will lose 1 to 2 on top of the tree you're cutting down that will either be damaged or lost. So then I start thinking that we're gonna have 220 loads taken out, we're gonna have 220 loads that are damaged. I think by slowing the process down, we can manage it much better. That was my reason for actually looking into this. As far as the purchase of the property, I think it's important when we look at our town and look at what we could have for recreational facilities, not necessarily today, but going 20 or 30 years down the road, this is a good piece of property to own. And maybe I look at it as a little bit as a dreamer, but I could foresee cross-country ski trails, hiking trails, all types of different recreation. As far as buildings, I don't foresee it having any large enclosed buildings. If it has a pavilion or something that people could use around the pond area, that would be fine to me because it isn't visible to Rolland or North Point. So that's really my reasoning for looking at this property and going ahead with this project.
So Michelle, so I know that you were talking about finance and whatnot, so we, prior to me taking over, the town board sold that piece to Community Emergency Corps.
Yeah.
I believe 200,000, Dave?
Yep.
That was 200,000, so we're using that money, plus we got a $50,000 grant once we sign the contract from the village, so that's 250. And the remaining funds will come out of our open space or Parks and Recs fee, which, Dave, I'm not sure you can elaborate which they're coming out of, but we have quite a bit of money, and that's what that money's for. When developers come in, we put that money into that. So it's a great opportunity for the town residents that we want to. Our intent was when Frank and I differed on this, obviously, they wanted the forestry to come in and cut, and when we kind of looked at the plans, we were like, that's not what we're looking for. We want to keep it the way it is. We like the way it looks. We're going to do some cleanup on the ground probably when. We were in contact with DEC Forestry, and they said once we buy the property, they will come sit down with us and say, okay, this is the plan we think you should go in. And when the village was looking to do it, they wanted to do it all at once, and we didn't want to take that approach because we didn't want to close it down. Frank, 2 to 3 months it was going to be closed down to the public?
6 to 8 weeks, I think it was.
6 to 8 weeks, so it was going to be closed down for a couple months, and we didn't want to take that approach. So we contacted DEC, and they said they would meet with us once we buy it and come in and say, okay, if you want to do this section this year, we'll come up with a plan to do that section, keep it open so everybody can utilize it. So that we contacted them, so that's us moving forward. We're probably just going to pave the parking lot entrances, make it look nice, clean up the trails, cut some of the dead wood down. If you have any questions for Jason, what we're planning on doing there. That's basically it, keeping it the way it is, make sure the trails are open and safe for everybody. We think it's in the center of our town. We think it's great to preserve that for our residents and the future of the residents, and that's how we're paying for it. That's what our plan is. We're going to clean it up, not really touch anything right now. We're going to buy it first. We're going to sit down, come up with a plan, how we're going to, forestry down the line. We'll come up with those plans after we get it. So that's why we were, I was a little hesitant of saying what we're going to do, when we're going to do, how we're going to do it, because we didn't even own the property. Once we sign it, then we'll come up with a plan and we'll let everybody know how we're going to do it.
And you'll get some advice in regards to that, because some of the it seems unsafe. Some of the stuff seems a little unsafe. It's like some stuff needs to come out of there.
The DEC Forestry is going to come in and meet with us.
Yeah.
They're going to walk it with us, and they're going to say, this is what I think you should do, and then we'll sit down and go over it, and then we'll come up with a game plan. Do you have any other questions?
I was gonna say something. I was just gonna say, we have this piece of property here in the middle of our town, which everyone thought the town owned originally, including some of the village board members, and been taking care of it. And I just think it's a perfect opportunity for us to create more recreation I'd like to see some picnic tables, benches, great project for our Eagle Scouts. They're always coming to us asking if they can redo the trail markers. And some of the members of our town employees did go up and look at a piece of property that Lumac did. And they said, this is not what we want here in the middle of the town. We want a more conservative view of the forest, taking down the trees and the ones that have to come down and so on, making it safe. So I just think it's a win-win for the town and for the village. We all know the village has been struggling. They're pulling themselves up by the bootstrings. I give you a lot of credit, Frank. And I think the money's gonna help them go a long way also.
Yeah.
So.
I would just let you know that at the meeting at the village that was held last, I don't know, you meet every couple of weeks, well, the previous one, the one that I went to a couple of weeks ago, there was somebody there, there were several residents, obviously, you know, there were several town residents who were there, and one person who I happen to know spoke very passionately about being concerned about things like picnic tables and any type of structures, even unenclosed structures, for not like attracting people who would go in there like after a SPAC concert or
They camp in there during a SPAC
yes,
concert.
exactly. So there's people that are worried about that, and I am not. I just want to be really clear. I'm not against us purchasing it. I am not against, you know, what you're doing. I just would like us to be able to talk about it, you know, and just have some conversation about it. And there are residents who have concerns. And so hopefully when you get to that point, there'll be an opportunity for the residents in the town, now we own it, to kind of talk about, you know, what people want to see for
There
instance
have been
there.
picnic tables in there, and there was a gorgeous dock down at the pond.
Yeah, it fell apart, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna comment on that. Vandalism is a big problem back there. So I just want everybody to be aware of that, because whatever you invest for picnic tables and I mean, there's been a lot of nice signs put up back there, like identifying trees. There's been some benches put back there, some still exist. There's been bridges built, and all of it gets vandalized very quickly. It's really sad.
We'll have to, and I also understand there's a lovely place with Christmas ornaments
Yes.
hanging.
Yes.
So I haven't seen that yet. Someone told me about it.
We know the vandalism all too well. Our parks get hit every week.
Yeah.
And we have cameras and we have the best of stuff, and Jason, poor Jason, I mean, every week he's fixing, painting, doing something because the kids are in there and destroying the bathrooms and you name it. It's going on right in our park here every week.
Scott said, I think, once this is settled, we get the property, then we'll bring the community in and say, what do you want to see?
What do you want to do there? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to quickly comment about this situation. It's no question that I love the park, like a lot of residents do, and I've expressed that here before. The one thing I just want to focus on is the whole issue of the forestry over the long term, 30 years from now. What is that forest going to look like? When Mayor Rossi was here, along with the gentleman from Lumac, they had a presentation. I spoke to the guy from Lumac, and he seemed to make sense what he was saying. I'm encouraged to hear that you're going to work with DEC once we do take ownership. I just ask the board that if you could continue to make this a topic of conversation, let us know what DEC recommends, and just keep that in the forefront of our minds moving forward, because I think that's a very important component of this, is maintaining that forest for the best health into the future.
There's no doubt forestry needs to be done there. We're just gonna probably do it in sections.
Yeah, and I don't wanna disparage Lumac and all, they're a very reputable firm. What Lumac is interested in and what they make their money on is live trees.
Right.
They don't make money on dead trees. So that's their focus. Where our focus is gonna be on making it safer, taking out the dead wood, then looking at what live trees need to come out. And also in forestry, there are different ways you can go about doing this that will do a lot less damage to the floor of the forest. And those are things we can look at. So by slowing it down and doing it in smaller sections, I think you're gonna be get a lot better product.
Great.
Yes?
question about the cost of the property. I understand the assessed value is somewhere in the $200,000 range. Originally, I read that probably in the Times Union. And I know we're also going to make a deal to take care of Colonial Hills for 5 years. And that's really nice that we're going to do that. However, I don't know why the Village of Ballston Spa hasn't paid the town of Milton for all the work that they have done there for all these many, many years to maintain it. So all the front work and the plowing, and there's an awful lot of work that has been done by the town of Milton. And in good faith, I would like to think that Ballston Spa would maybe pay us or lessen the time from 5 years for Colonial Hills.
They, that is in the village, but however, those people do pay town taxes, so we're giving back to them. In essence, they do pay town taxes.
Okay.
I didn't realize we'd opened the public comment period.
That's okay, we can just scratch it, we're good.
I was sleeping back there, so. Wow, that was an interesting meeting tonight, and thank you for giving me a lot to talk about. I'll commend the board for acquiring the Woods Hollow. If you can find me that type of acreage for about $3,300 an acre, call me, I'll buy it all. That's a good steal, and that's a great thing. Mayor Rossi, you don't get overtime because you didn't watch the Beverly Hillbillies. Naught times naught is naught. So twice what you're getting paid now is still naught. So good luck.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. But I think that's excellent that we are as a town acquiring Woods Hollow. I manage over 600 and some acres up in Edinburgh because I enjoy hunting and being in the outdoors. What you want to achieve is what you relay to the forester, and the forester will let you know how to get to that point. So you have to provide your vision to the forester, and the forester will go about and tell you what to cut, when to cut, and where to cut. So, quick comment on the Great Long public hearing. I hunt that area. It's a swamp. I live on Midline Road. Between Midline and Stone Church is a swamp. I can fix the problem for you. The development is too dense. You eliminate the homes on the west side where the swamp is. That would help those other people. And just so you know, there is no public benefit to the town. And I like the attorney's response about there being a public benefit by creating a PDD. But as a developer, the PDD is usually created for the developer, but that's another day. Our economic development, gentlemen, I'm sure you're doing a better job of economic development than you are telling the public what you do. I've spoken to you, and I know you've spoken to several prospective businesses to be in this area. I know you've been involved in the EV stations and so on. And your monthly report is always here. If you all show up, it's here. It's one of the topics every month. There's economic development, so every 30 days you can hear from the economic development folks. Couple other things I just want to touch on. Transparency. I hear that being mentioned quite a bit, and I've had the pleasure or displeasure of being at town board meetings for almost 3 decades. And I can tell you, I don't know of an administration that has had more transparency and more information, and I do read it. And I do appreciate the clerk putting it on the web and seeing it. Thank you very much. I do read your work product, and I thank you for that. So there's a lot of information, there's a lot of transparency, and I appreciate what you're doing, Supervisor Ostrander. Some things that I also wanted to comment on, and it does dovetail in with economic development. I noticed that the tennis courts have been paved, basketball courts have been paved, the parking lots have been paved. The Milton Mile is up and open. If you don't know where the Milton Mile is, and in the park. You run around there, walk around there. The new bathrooms you mentioned at the community center. The clock tower, there's no weeds, and it actually works. Thank you very much. I drove by the other day, and I'm going, oh my God, it's the same time as on my car. That's a miracle. Thank you. I like that. Parks and facilities, wow. They're much nicer, they're cleaner, they're more well-maintained, and I appreciate that. That takes a lot of work, and it doesn't happen overnight. And the fact that we have, in fact, put in place somebody to do economic development is a great step forward. We have to get and walk before we run, and we will be able to do that. But these little things, simple, they attract business. If you have a clean, well-maintained facility, somebody comes and looks to invest $1 million if they want to address a restaurant or whatever they want to put over there, a Dunkin' Donuts. You may not think it, but they'll drop close to $1 million by the time they acquire the land, they build the building, they staff the place. So they want to see a successful, well-maintained environment, and we need to do that and provide that. I appreciate that. In my last comment, I did read the stuff that was up on the highway. I know that's in the process. Our people in the highway do a great job. They deserve a first-class facility. I think it should function well for them, but I also am concerned about the aesthetics of that facility. I know that you're in the town center. I know that we as a town require developers to do certain things like sidewalks and trees and curbs and keeping the building to the street and present it well. And I see metal siding on the highway garage. I think we can do better. I know there will come a time that we can talk about that, but I think that what we present as a town to the public and to people that come and visit our town needs to be first class also. We can do better than block buildings, we can do better than steel. On the face of it, we can provide good curb appeal. I know there'll come a time to talk about it. Thank you, appreciate it, and can't wait to get home by 9.
Thanks. So moving on, the status of the CDTC approval for the town center plan update. We've been awarded the grant, so that's proceeding forward. Twin Bridges bulk collection pickup dates are scheduled for the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on April 29th and May 6th. Residents should have received an email from or a mailing from Twin Bridges. If you want to look on our town website, it'll give you a link that explains what you can and can't bring to the pickup. So if you have any questions, you can go on the website and look. The grand opening ceremony for our new walking trail, what's called the Milton Mile, will be held on May 11th at 1 p.m. We do have a lot of things going on this weekend here. The Twin Bridges pickup is Saturday, and also the new Napa building grand reopening is Saturday also. So it's going to be a very busy weekend here at Town Center. Public comment number 2, if anybody still wants to speak, I think we covered it, but if anybody else has anything. Mayor Rossi.
No, I want to.
No, I'm trying to sound equals no.
Some days that's positive.
Frank Rossi Jr., 63B Saratoga Avenue, sometimes 66 Front Street, way too much 66 Front Street. But I enjoy it, and one thing though that I did not enjoy today was a call from Steve Bulger, our county administrator, and Dr. Cools, who leads up the Department of Health and in Saratoga County, and they made me aware of a problem going on countywide, but village specific right now. There were 19 overdoses on drugs in the county over the last week or so, the week ending the 24th of April. There were 3 fatalities. All 3 fatalities occurred in the village of Ballston Spa. The last fatality on Monday was within short walking distance of the middle school and the high school. They mobilized today the county to put together a Narcan training and kit distribution pop-up We had the first one on McMaster Street in the supervisor's parking lot today from 2 to 4, and obviously without much notice, it was sparsely attended, but at least they executed it so that tomorrow, same spot on McMaster Street from 11 a.m. to, I believe, 3 p.m. tomorrow, they will be handing out the kits and showing you how to use them. It takes about 10 minutes of your time, and it's well worth it. I'll show you in a second why it's important. And on Friday, up at the jail facility, the public safety facility up there, they'll be doing from 8:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. I believe, so full day basically out there. When you go, you'll get this blue bag, and inside the blue bag is another blue bag, which has in it 2 doses of Narcan, which are important to have 2 doses in case the first dose doesn't work effectively, and some other things that show that you've been trained on the implementation. Also, they give you a breathing shield if you have to perform mouth-to-mouth on the person, because it doesn't necessarily always work. And also they give you something called Deterra, which helps you to detoxify drugs in your possession or their possession. Ultimately, you mix with water and it will take out the lethality of the drugs. It's important for everybody to have this. It's important for everybody to go and get a kit like this. If you cannot attend, because I understand it's during work hours, if you Google Saratoga County Narcan, Narcan, you will be able to get a kit like this. Just sign up and they will help you out with it. But needless to say, a spike like this, while it's been developing over the last couple of years and through your work with the police force supervisor, I know you know this, it's been developing. It takes our first responders out quite often to areas. In fact, Mike Bayshore, fire chief, came to our meeting on Monday night, had to leave for the fatality on Boston Avenue that occurred on Monday night, and it saps our resources, but most importantly, it takes lives of our loved ones. Please go out, get word out to go pick up these Narcan kits, to learn how to use them. It's in our community. Whether or not we want to admit it to ourselves, it is, and be prepared for it, and hopefully we'll get the school district to participate as well, because it is right down the street from the middle school and the high school right now. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Bishop.
Hi, so this is my official second public comment. Request that I want to make of the board. The village just finished a very lively budget session, as you said, Barbara, trying to figure out how to make ends meet there and make that work with a lot of different priorities and thinking that's going on in regards to that. I've paid attention to it because they're our neighbors. We frequent the village a lot, and things that they do benefit us in the town, particularly their celebration and events planning. And I know that the town, contributes to things like the library and the pool, and I think Bark and Back and all those. I think you've got some things that you do in regards to that. I am really, one of the things that was contentious there was the events and celebrations budget, and I'm really disheartened to see that the 9/11 Remembrance Celebration is getting pulled into that kind of political feud, because I know we've had some conversations here about who we recognize and who we call out and celebrate, but I would hope that we could all agree that a fitting memorial of what happened on September 11th is something that we should be supporting. And I also think it should not be tied into how much a municipality feels that they can support an Easter egg hunt and a family fun day and a sledding festival. To me, it's something completely distinct, and it should never be caught up into that type of political argument. I might be wrong, I looked at our budget, I think we have a line for culture and recreation, I don't think we have anything in there that we do anything specific for a September 11th remembrance. My understanding is the group that currently runs that for the village needs $1,200 to do it. At risk of being, excoriated, I'd say that I would think, we should look carefully. It doesn't need $1,200. I think a fitting, bringing of community together, might be able to be done for less than that. I would really encourage the board to look at it, talk to that group about it, and consider having the town make a donation, work with the mayor in regards to that. Let's get them some money. And I would ask that it be on a stipulation that it never become, part of this budget and political argument that's happening, and that it's just something that we as a town and as a village and as our elected officials really feel is important for us to remember, and that, if we give, I think we probably have $500 that we could give them to make sure that that happens, and meet them halfway on it, so that we properly, recognize something that obviously was important to our nation, and certainly important to some people here. I know the Cantys were affected. I actually knew Mrs. Canty, who passed away last year. I appreciate, what Gina Morosi and the folks who have been heading this up and making sure that it happens, have been doing that, and it might be time for us to step in and just make sure it doesn't become part of these political arguments. So, just something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Ashley Edwards, 78 Thompson Street, that is Community Emergency Corps. I just wanted to give you a quick update. I've been listening in for the past couple months, but I haven't actually been able to be here. Obviously our new building is progressing quite well. That, for anybody who's wondering and hasn't seen, is the construction at the corner of this lot, the corner of Woodthrush. That's us, that's our future home. It's gonna be pretty awesome. So with that, we have the electrical and underground conduit is installed as long as in and underground with the fiber and the data that we're gonna have. Electrical has been working with the masonry. It's quite exceptional to see how fast that masonry work goes up. They're doing a beautiful job. I believe the goal was to have that huge thing of scaffolding down by the end of the day. So the big walls, which are the east and south walls, should be completed today, and then by the end of next week, the north and west walls. So that's really exciting. Once that's done, the structural steel goes up, then the apparatus trench, the trench drains and the radiant heat can be done, with the estimation that the slab for our base is actually poured by the end of June. So we're kind of moving right along, which is exciting. We're hoping maybe for December, but we're looking at more like probably January for having it all complete and moving in. When we do that, that brings me to my other post-it notes here. We are hoping to be holding a lot more training classes, not only for us, but also for the public. Things like Narcan, for instance. I think it's important. It is affecting the community as a whole, and it is a countywide kind of epidemic going on. And it is across all socioeconomic factors. So, even if you don't think that you know somebody who's affected by it, you probably do. So we have Narcan at our station. We don't currently offer the training on it, but we have the Narcan kits that you can get. Stop by anytime, ring the bell. As long as somebody's in the station, we can get you one. But definitely going to the training is important as well. I think that's pretty much it. Except for EMS week. May has EMS week, and we're gearing up to do we go to the kindergarten classes. So we're gonna hit all the kindergarten classes through all of the elementary schools, and if you know any of the little preschools or anything like that that might want to touch a truck, see an ambulance, just let us know.
Question.
Yeah?
Who's the super over there?
That's me.
No, or the son, Panaccio.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Tony's project.
Oh. I'm sorry?
It's Tony's project, but
It's Tony? Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Have him make a sign that says future home.
Just for now.
I already
Okay.
said that, Tom, that was my idea.
Yeah, it took a little bit to get back from the architects. I'm not quite sure why, but it is up. If not yesterday, definitely this morning.
Tom, I put in that request a month ago.
Oh.
Forever, right?
I did, I said, Ashley, everybody's calling, just go ahead.
So many phone calls.
Because if it's not up, I'm seeing Tony tomorrow.
Panacio's
It's
got
there,
enough
I
signs
have a
up, though.
picture of it, I can show you.
Okay.
Panaccio has enough signs up, it just doesn't say
Yeah,
community
no,
emergency.
okay, maybe save one, put up the coming soon, okay? Now, I'll see Sonny, I'll make sure it's not.
There you go.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yes.
You maybe move them along a little bit, Tom?
Exactly.
I don't think they have 5 masons up there putting block up today.
We're so fast.
There's no need for executive session this evening, so a motion to close.
Just one thing before we close. I want to throw a little tickler out there. If you think the Milton Mile is good, we have some other surprises coming very quickly. That involves the hottest sport in the country right now. So something to look forward to.
Jason's got something up his sleeve that he's gonna unveil.
Fortunately, we have a great highway crew and they've been doing an amazing
You
job.
guys doing an awesome job.
Formula One racing, is that where we're going?
Go-karts, golf carts, we're gonna have racing every Saturday. Something different, right?
Yeah.
You wanted something different in the park, that's something different.
For all your NASCAR fans, you can come over and see Chase Elliott across the street at Napa on Friday from 3 to 5.
Gotta be one of the first 200 people in line now.
We're camping out Woods Hollow.
Don't drink the water.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Froelich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burr?
Yes.
Councilman Skeesdale?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes.